Hello, Paul Campanis here. It is September 5th, 2018, and I'm going to talk to you today about holistic weight loss. I'm not selling anything. I should be working now and making money. I'm not getting paid for this. There's nothing to buy. But I've had a great victory, and I really feel obligated to share it with people because so many of my friends are struggling with digestive disorders, Crohn's, colitis, all these sort of cancer, heart disease, obesity. And so I'll start out by telling you my story. When I was about 10 years old, my mother decided to go back to work because she was bored at home. She's a very smart lady, and can't blame her. And so she would buy more processed foods. In fact, there was a Hostess Twinkie factory near where I grew up in Framingham. And my mom would buy they'd have a bargain shop, and tell you the stuff was really cheap, and she'd put it in a drawer. And that drawer would empty out because I'd be sucking it down and eating these chocolate pies and apple pies from the Hostess factory in Framingham, Massachusetts. And so around 10 years old, I started to get fat, and it was my own fault. I mean, I knew that I should wait for dinner, but I'd eat all that stuff before dinner, and then she wouldn't really notice, and I was sneaking it, and I wasn't being good. I was not doing what I was told. I'm sure she was telling me, Paul, stop that. But I did it, and I got really hooked on it, and then I started to get fat, and so I had to go to a doctor. Paul has a pot belly now, and so I had to go to the doctor at the Harvard Community Health Clinic, and they said, well, yeah, you're fat, you're eating too much fat, and you're eating too much junk, and they started calorie counting and all that stuff, and that didn't go very well. And long story short, I'll go along here. So right around junior high, around age 12, I started to do sports, and I was good at, at sports, and so I would work it off, and so I wouldn't be really fat. I'd just be a little fat, and then I'd go run, and so that was junior high. That was age 13 or 14 to age 51. We're talking a long time here. We're talking 30-something years, 36 years of being fat, and then, really wasn't until around the age of 54, I'm 56 now, until I really understood what I'm going to tell you now. So it's really 40 years of fighting this. And the only victories I'd have were when I would just exercise a lot. I mean, a lot. I mean, I could run a lot. And I'd run fast. I'd play soccer. I'd play basketball. I'd swim, a lot. And then I would just eat those calories, and then I'd do the exercise. And it's the only time I ever looked like I wasn't fat was when I was feeling good enough to exercise. And so if I had an injury, forget it. I'd blimp. So just to give you an idea of just how bad the situation was. And the thing is, the truth was right in front of me the whole time. It was right in the Bible, right there. And I'm not going to preach a lot, but I'm going to give credit where credit is due. And so what I learned is that we have to eat food that is natural food and not man-made food. So I'll use terms like man's food and God's food, nature's food, and processed food. So I'll use these sort of terms, but understand that the battle line is very clear here. What man is doing to the food and the food processing is what's causing this problem. And what God created is good. And I'll read a little verse here in Ezekiel 47:12. It's talking about like a utopia sort of situation, and it says that, talking about the trees, their fruit will serve for food and their leaves for healing. So park that. I hope you're writing this down because it's going to come at you fast. It was a fire hose for me, and I'm still doing it. So the fruit for food and the leaves for healing. And I'm going to take you around my kitchen here. They're all out of the play. I should be working, but I'm doing this. And I'm going to show you some of the foods, and it's going to surprise you. You're going to learn some things because I've learned a lot quickly, and I'm a fairly knowledgeable person, and I'm going to drink water as we go because I'm losing my voice. So all my friends are getting sick. They're getting heart disease, cancer, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems. There's just hundreds of diseases that are coming down the pike. And I'm not immune to them. I'll get some of them too. I just want to hold them off as long as possible. And I want to be able to take care of myself as long as possible. I've been a caregiver here for a while for a family member. And the battle isn't living a long time. The battle is taking care of yourself a long time and not having someone else do it. But I've... what should I talk about next? Okay, I'll talk about losing the weight, okay? I went from 245, like 4 years ago, to 165. That's 80 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And I'll stand up now. I mean, I don't look like a weightlifter or one of these bodybuilder kind of guys. I can't take off my shirt and wow everybody. But that might be next. Hopefully it will be. But yeah, I don't care. It feels so good to not be in pain all the time. I was always in pain. My back hurt, my knees hurt, my elbows hurt. I had psoriasis on my head. I had so many diseases coming on strong. I had diabetes coming on strong. I had heart disease coming on strong, and probably cancer that I just don't know about yet. I actually have felt some funny things in there, funny places, like I'd rub myself here and go, oh man, that doesn't feel right. And these things have spontaneously healed when I got what I'm about to tell you on straight. And so, you might be listening to this because you're fat. You look in the mirror and you go, I'm fat. And I hate being fat and I'm tired of being fat. Okay, well, listen up, okay? Because it's not just the fat. The fat is a symptom of a much bigger problem. You're also probably coming down with heart failure, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems. You're probably getting 15 other things along with the fatness, okay? So it's really important to take care of this. Take care of yourself. And I'll give you some, you're just travelers on a journey, and I'm a traveler on a journey, and I'm going to tell you what's helped me. And I will do it sincerely and clearly. Now, what works for me is not going to work for you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. But I'm going to tell you how I crawled and clawed my way out of this pit of obesity and heart disease and diabetes and all the other things. There's a long list. But, you forget real quickly all the things that held you down when you're free. Freedom, when you're free, you're not thinking back, you're not remembering all the things you had back in jail. You're free, man. You just go. And I've forgotten a lot of them, but there are a lot of them. I had neuropathy in my hands, and I had to write a list down because I knew I was forgetting them. Just in my joy of being free. So, that being said, let me just start on this whole process. So I was always told, and I really believed, I was ashamed of myself. I was in that sort of shame cycle when I'd run a lot and I'd feel good about myself, and then I'd be ashamed of myself for what I just ate. And then my sons have a beautiful saying for this: I hate myself for what I just ate. And I guess that was going around the college or something. But it's so true. You just feel ashamed. I just ate the whole pizza. And we'd have a saying, whoever eats the fastest eats the mostest. Thank you, Joe, for that. And we could eat the fastest, believe me. You put a pizza in front of us and we just devour it. And it got a little more sophisticated in our 30s and 40s, but it really wasn't much better. And so I was ashamed of my behavior. But one of the things that unlocked this door for me and set me free from the bondage I was in was understanding it was physical, not behavioral. Okay, what do I mean by that? That means that I was malnourished. I wasn't getting the nutrition that I needed to get. Therefore, I was going back to the fridge over and over and over So I go to the freezer for ice cream. I'd get a bowl of ice cream, go lay down, eat it. Oh, that was good. Get up and get another bowl. And then I go back and then I look at the bottom of the ice cream and go, I ate that whole thing. And I was just unsatisfied because I was depleted nutritionally. And when your body's when your body is depleted nutritionally, you're gonna seek out food, and that's what I did. And then another reason that because the foods are so poor in nutrients, okay, and one of the reasons for that is they're processed. They're processed. Man has adulterated them. They've cooked them, they've beat them, they've blended them, they've put chemicals in, and that's another issue. And then another reason is the soils are really depleted. So in conjunction with this, I've been studying soil science and understanding soils. And that's been huge, and I'll explain that. You might shut the video off at that part because, you know, I'm into the why. I want to know why. But most people just say, tell me what to do, and I'm going to tell you what to do. Okay, and I'll try to get to that part real quickly. But the soils are depleted. That means that, or the organic food and the non-organic food you're getting is spiked with like a steroid. It's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You give a food or a plant those three things, it's going to look great. It'll taste awful, maybe, or it might taste good, but it will be depleted of the 89 other elements and nutrients that your body needs. But all this organic food out there and all this conventional food is very depleted because the soils are depleted. The way we're treating the earth is ruining soils. And I have a garden out there, and this video could go on forever. But I could take you through the kitchen and show you all my food, and I might take you out to the garden and show you I might not. Who knows? I mean, but if I don't do this video, it's never going to get done. So that's why I'm here. So I'm sorry if it's boring. So then I got introduced to the nutritarian diet. And I was like, oh, okay, that was Joel Fuhrman. And that was a lucky day for me. I mean, I'm a smart person, I'm not a dummy, and I've been working at it for 40 years. I mean, literally been working at it. And a lot of that time I was discouraged and gave up, but not much of it. I always had those antennae up. I always believed I was going to survive this and that there was a better way. I always had that faith. And there were some grim times. I mean, I shoveled 12 bags of clothes out of my closet into bags and off to charity. I mean, this was really deep. I mean, this had gone on a long, long time. 80 pounds is a lot of weight. But I did believe. I did have faith. And so, you're malnourished. That's point number one. You are hungry. That's why you're eating. You're hungry. And you're hungry because you're not getting real food. You're getting fake food that looks like real food. And here's the second reason why it's not your fault. Is the foods are engineered to be drugs. Okay? So, we have a saying. There's going to be a lot of lingo, but I'll explain it. Please, if you can, write it down because this this is really boiled down. I'm going to use the term SOS. Salt, oil, sugar. If you take salt, oil, or sugar and put it in combination, the food becomes very addictive. That's probably the best way to say it. I will get hooked. So if you give me dates and nuts together, I will plow them down big time. I mean, I'll eat 5 days worth of calories right in one sitting. Right in one meal. Maybe not 5 days, maybe 2 days, 3 days. But salt is another one. You take salt and mix it with sugar, and that's, what's that? That's Chinese food. Okay? You take salt and fat, that's a juicy steak. Okay? And so you start to see these really habit-forming foods are combinations of salt, oil, and sugar. Okay? So you really want to eat the salt. Okay, I don't eat salt at all. I get my salts through my vegetables like my celery because cravings for salts are cravings for minerals. And if I'm craving salt, then I'm craving minerals. And I go for celery. It's my first place to go. Or greens, like dark green leafy vegetables. Oil, and I forgot where I was going. I lost my train of thought here. But okay, oil. If I'm having oil, if I'm having a fat, okay, I don't eat any oils anymore. I'll go for nuts, but small amounts because, you know, they're really fattening. And seeds, certain kinds of seeds. And so healthy versions of that. And then I don't eat any salt. So sugars are dates, figs, raisins, those kinds of things. Okay, so that's the intro to SOS, salt, oil, sugar. That's, you combine any 2 or 3 of those and you've got an addictive food. Now, I have a good friend who worked for a big candy company, and he quit one day after he understood some basic truths about their processes. And what they would do is they would look at their numbers. The accountants would say, well, hey, we had a sales gain this month, or, you know, they wanted the food to be repetitive. So say they had a particular candy bar, they want to look at the sales, the people come back and buy that over and over and over. And that was the definition of how to succeed in the candy business. And then if it succeeded, they would keep doing what they're doing. If it didn't succeed, it'd go back to the laboratory. How do you say that? Laboratory. Okay, it depends. I'm from Boston, but I live in the South, so I'm all messed up. So they go back to the laboratory, and then these additives, which are also chemicals, would be put into the candy, and then the candy go back out there. Oh yeah, we didn't have that had a negative effect. So we'll don't use that chemical. Use another chemical. And these are preservatives. These are all sorts of additives that we don't know what they are, and we know they're dangerous. I mean, we just know. I mean, it's obvious. If you don't know that these chemicals are dangerous, listen, they're dangerous. And so then I started to understand that with our system of governance, the Food and Drug Administration, there's a lot of good things happening there, and there's a lot of great folks there, okay, and they're really trying to do something important and necessary, trying to protect people, and they do, and I don't disrespect them, but there's some fundamental things in that process that have not worked out, and that's probably all I need to say. That the foods are so adulterated that you need the drugs to deal with the pain from the food. And so we're in a downward spiral. And it's going down. The ship's going down. It's not going up, it's going down. And it's not going to change, don't wait for it. But the people at the FDA, they know what they've got to do, and they're trying as hard as they can. So we end up with food that's very toxic. So it has chemicals in it, and your body stores those chemicals, and it processes them, and gives you, that's what gives you cancer, is 2 things I think give me cancer, are toxicity and lack of nutrients. So toxicity and then the inability to fight them through lack of nutrition. You know, it's a good way to look at it. So your body accumulates all these toxins, and then you don't have the nutrition, and you don't have the processes in place to flush them out. And so and we have lots of artificial sweeteners and all sorts of chemicals, all sorts of non-organic foods, all sorts of pesticides and herbicide residues that get into the food, especially into the meat supplies. It's bad. It's a really bad problem. So what I did is I'm going to get back to the nutritarianism, okay? Joel Fuhrman. Dude, Joel, if you're watching this, and I know you're not because you'd be bored out of your mind. Dude, you rock. You really saved me. You were finally the only person who made sense and got through to me. So, stop watching this and pull up a Joel Fuhrman video, will you? Because the dude knows what he's talking about. So, that's my dog looking out of her bowl, in case you're wondering. Everyone's gone. I finally got a little time to do a video, and that's crazy. They think I'm crazy. Anyways, they're so tired of my crap. Oh, sorry about that. But, no, they're loving and supportive. But it's a little scary. Okay, so, Joel Fuhrman, and this is easy. Okay, you can write it down. I'd write it down. So, a couple of things, okay. First step is you don't eat till you're hungry. And you're like, dude, why are you telling me that? Don't eat when you're okay. You're not hungry when you wake up in the morning, folks. I'm not hungry at lunch usually. And, eat when you're hungry, okay? But the problem is, here's the problem, is we don't know when we're hungry. Because what happens is, it's called the Herxheimer reaction, is that your body is so busy assimilating food that the organs of elimination, okay, this is where most of your body's energy is spent, eliminating food, okay, digesting food. Like, you'd be amazed, when I started fasting, and I'm not going to get too into that, and that's not really required material here, but it sort of is, okay. When I started fasting, I started having tons of energy, and it takes like 40% of your energy. So you sleep 30% of the time, you digest with 30%, and so I don't want to explain this right. I'm not going to get this right on this go round. But like 40% of your body's energy is spent on digestion. There's a couch back there that doesn't get used very much anymore. I was always on that couch. And I'd say, oh, honey, I'm on the charger. Because these were when the power tools just came in, and you'd have to charge it up in your cell phone. And we didn't charge anything back in the day. Honey, I'm on the charger. I just lay there and snore and go to sleep because I had just eaten tons of food that didn't meet my nutritional requirement. And I'd sleep all the time. So digestion, your organs of elimination, use a tremendous amount of energy. What was I talking about? So what you want to do is you want to wait until you're hungry to eat. And the Herxheimer reaction. So when you, the reason, I would get angry or frustrated or really hungry around 12:15, like lunch is 15 minutes late here, I'm going to die, is because I start to feel like I was getting the flu. And that's not hunger. That's the Herxheimer reaction, because the organs of assimilation are not being supplied with food. So you're not assimilating food. You start to detox. You start to eliminate food, and all that toxicity and all those food byproducts need to be dealt with, and that makes you feel sort of like you have the flu. Now that cycle can be broken, but don't confuse hunger with the Herxheimer reaction, which is a detox. Okay, so wait till you're hungry. Okay, for you that might be. For me, at the beginning, I would get up at say 8 o'clock and eat a nice breakfast. For me, that was 10 o'clock. I mean, that was really tough. And then it got easier and easier to go longer and longer and longer. And now I'm at the point where I don't even really think about food unless I'm bored. Unless I'm home alone with all this food and there's nothing to do, then I'll eat. I will seek it and I will find it. So don't confuse the Herxheimer reaction with hunger. Hunger is different. And I've honestly never been hungry. So I can't even describe hunger, but one way to know you're a little bit hungry is that you'll eat anything. So the appetite, instead of I really want a sub sandwich, or I want a Philly steak and cheese, or I want a bowl of ice cream, or I want a piece of pizza, it's not into the equation. Anything. You'll eat anything. Okay. And so when you're hungry, you'll eat anything. So that's how you know you're hungry. Pretty simple, huh? So let me go get a list of the Joel Fuhrman list. It's on the fridge, and I'll be right back with a list. Oh, I taped it. Okay. Here's the list. So screenshot that. Or you can just go online and get it. There's the list, okay. So look at the top of the list here. That's where you want to start, because it's the Nutritarian diet, okay? The one-page list, it's on the fridge. That's a good place for it, folks. Might give me a little pause. It might not. I might blow right past the list. But so you see very clearly what is good. The leaves are, just what the Bible said here. The leaves are for healing and the fruit is for food. Okay, at the beginning, healing's good, because you're sick. If you're fat, I knew I was fat and I was sick. I felt the pain. And all my fat friends are in pain. They talk about their pain because it hurts. And so the first thing you want to do when you're hungry, you know you're hungry when you'll eat anything, is green, dark green leafy vegetables. Well, I hate those. I hate kale. Kale's awful. Tastes like cardboard. Tastes like going out and eating grass. But I tell you, when you're hungry, kale tastes good. Tastes good. Yes, it does. I have gone to the grocery store and bought a thing of organic kale, put it on the front seat on the ride home, and eaten the whole thing. Yeah, and that, I hate kale. I first tried kale at Applebee's, way back in the day, and I was like, oh, that's gross. That's really disgusting. Okay, and then collard was number 2. Okay, so you want to eat from the top of the list when you're hungry. Okay, because the idea is to not eat for pleasure, but to eat for your health. Not to gratify, but to glorify. Not to satisfy some addiction, but to eat to live, not live to eat. They say all that stuff, but it never did me any good because I was too busy focusing on my pleasure. So don't eat for pleasure. And anything's going to be pleasurable at this point, okay? Because you'll eat anything. And don't worry about what everyone else is eating. That's a big problem too, because they're all going to think you're nuts. They've lost it. They might put you in a mental institution for eating too much kale. Man, they like to do that. They don't like this. Everyone around you is not going to be like, oh, Paul's eating kale. They're going to be like, they're going to start talking about, they're going to start talking about how guilty they feel right after they ate what they eat. And the interaction is another thing, and that's pretty funny actually. But we'll do another video on that and may have a little fun with it. But you want to eat from the top of the list, okay? So it's all these greens and vegetables, okay? And you hate those. I know we all hate them. We don't eat them because we hate them. They don't taste good. We say, oh yeah, I like these, but we really don't, do we? No, we don't. They don't taste good. You got a Twinkie over here and a piece of kale over here. What tastes good? The Twinkie, not the kale. So you're hungry though, so you'll eat anything. That's what you do. You eat the top of the list. Eat the kale, the greens, and then you work your way down to you got a spectrum here. You got on one side you got really palatable foods, and the other sides are not palatable, like good in your palate. So like barbecue, that's really palatable. I mean, I could kill some barbecue. I don't eat it anymore. But kale, not palatable. But you're hungry, so anything's palatable. And the Bible even says that even to the hungry, the bitter tastes sweet. And all those greens and the things like parsley and cilantro, those things just clean you out. I mean, they take those chemicals, those heavy metals, they bind them up, and they send them on out of the body. It's glorious. You get a good looking liver, you're going to have a good looking body, because that liver is doing some heavy duty lifting, let me tell you. So, but one of the things that happens is when you wait till you're hungry, okay, is you drink lots of water. Good water, not this chlorinated junk. Good water. Figure out how to get the chlorine out, the fluoride out. Don't eat any of that. That's all adulteration again. So whenever I feel like eating, I drink some of this. And then I know I'm hungry when I'll eat anything. But I drink a lot of water in the process. I mean, at night, like I've measured how much comes out at night, over a gallon many nights. I drink a lot. And a lot of it's because I'm not eating, and your body's cleaning out. That's all those organs of elimination are just getting flushed with that water. So all that time you're not eating is very crucial. It's very crucial time because it's like our fridge when everyone goes shopping on the same day. You know what this is like? And every day. So, my wife comes home with a bunch of groceries. My daughter comes home with a bunch of groceries. My sons come home with a bunch of groceries. And everyone's like, I come home with a bunch of groceries. Everyone opens the fridge and stuff falls out and you can't get anything in. And it's just, it's a problem. Then it piles up on the counter and the kitchen table, and then we have to store it in the hall. And so when you eat all the time, we're told 3 meals a day, what ends up happening is it's just jammed. I mean, it's just jammed up in there. You got to clean that thing out, man. And so by waiting till you're hungry and drinking a lot of water, it gives your body just a chance to get that stuff out. Just a clean up in there. It's a mess. And so that's really important, is to do that. So you work the top, and the idea is to not eat for pleasure, but eat for nutrition. Okay, so you're trying to get the things that are most nutritious in your body. And then if you're weak, if you're struggling, if you think this is really, really cruel and unusual punishment, eat just a monster salad and then say you can eat anything you want. Eat a monster salad and just plow through the whole thing. Like, I use a mixing bowl just to show you how big my salads are. I'll eat 2 of these, okay? The first one is full of greens from the garden usually, and they're tough greens from, like if I tried to have this for dessert, I mean, I'd be one bite and I'd be like, that ain't happening. So a bowl of greens and then a bowl of cut vegetables. These are all the organic stuff you see. Just go to the supermarket, go to the organic section and get one of everything, even if you hate it. I hate peppers. I hate onions, but I'll put a little in there. And the onions I have to go easy because I get bad breath. Breath is bad enough as it is, but parsley, cilantro, all the weird stuff you've never tried, that goes in the bowl, okay? And then so two of those, and then I'll eat fruit or sprouts. I do a lot of sprouts. I'll show you those. But if most people, like I got most of the weight off by just doing the salad, and so just start out with that, just a monster salad right after you break your fast for